Hello and welcome to another lesson of VBA programming, and in this lesson we're going to learn how to add a picture frame to our user form like this. It's going to be very simple and then straightforward. Okay, this will be able to get the picture of the user. Okay, whichever information we enter here, that is the ID, the first name or the full name, the gender, will be able to also add a picture with just a click of a button, and then we browse, get a picture added here. Straightforward. It's going to be very nice and fun. Okay, now let's quickly delve right into that. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon so that you can receive notifications anytime we upload new tutorials. Okay, and also if you want to access our previous tutorials, we have the links in the video description below. You can just check them out and be able to follow step by step from the first lesson to the current lesson. Okay, simple as that. Now let's quickly delve right into these lessons. Thank you. Hello and welcome to another lesson in our VBA training. And in this lesson, we're going to work around we're going to deal with how to add a picture or an image to our user form. Okay, so let's dive right into that. Simple water break here, please a minute. Thank you. Now, first thing first, we need to open our project here. Then we just have to so first of all, let's just Alt F11 to open the code editor. If we go this way, now we need the frame for the image. Okay, so we select this, then we drag this over, get that here. So we need the button to control that, so we go for the control button, then we just put it here. So adjust it. You can change the caption to maybe add photo, sorry, add photo. Perfect. So that is that. And we can just change its ID to something like CMD add photo so that it will be unique. Perfect. So now we need to declare some global variable for this. What's the name? The image. That is the path where the image is coming from. Okay, so let's do that. To do that, let's go back to our source code and then we drag, move to the top and do that here. So click here and then sorry, and then move this one down a bit. And you can declare that here. So we say dim f path as what string. Okay, as string. Perfect. So we're done with that. So now the next line of action is we quickly go back to this and then we double click this, so we have this. So we're going to write some syntax here to control the dialog box that will maybe open up for us to select our picture from. Okay, now there is an application. So first of all, there are some methods in this application that will help us open that form. So to do that, first of all, we call on application itself, then we introduce those methods and then their properties to be able to open that dialog box. So we say what application dot in this application there's a method called file dialog, so we call on file dialog. You can see it's even there, just tab it over. In this file dialog there's a property called MSO file dialog open. That is what will open the file dialog box for us to select our picture from. So then we close the bracket. Now there is another method here which determines whether we want to select multiple items or just one item. In this case, we want to select just one image, right? So we just say allow multi-select. You can see it's even there. Then we set that to what? False. So we tab it over. It means we don't want to allow selection of multiple or multiple, maybe more than one picture. Okay, just one that we want for that particular frame that we drew on the form there. So that is that. Now we need to proceed with that, we need to declare another variable here. Okay, we need to declare another variable here, like I think here, so that it should be here. That is, so let's dim x as what? So let's dim x as this should be an integer, and I'll explain that. It's going to be a number. Okay, that is going to be holding this file dialog box application methods for us. So that is that. So let me just, after that, so we have this one here. So now we need to assign x to this particular application.file dialog MSO file dialog open property. We need to assign x to this particular function here. Okay, so we say x equal to this application. So let me just Control J to have the options to speed up our work. Application dot file dialog. So we call file dialog, tab it over into brackets. I would have just copied it, but then MSO file dialog open. Then the next thing is then we close the bracket dot show. Okay, so once this particular application in which we have the file dialog and then the property MSO file dialog open, which allows, and then this property also allow us or maybe deny us from selecting multiple items, which in this case we don't want, and we set that to false. We want to set x, or want to assign this particular functionality to what? X. And once it is open, it means x is what? 1. What it means is that, let me just make this thing very clear for you to understand what is happening here. Now we deem x as an integer. An integer is just a number, right? We want it to, we want to hold a particular number. Okay, that is why we've assigned, we deem x as an integer, is a number. And what are we assigning to x? To this x, we are assigning this application of file dialog. Once the file dialog box open, it means there is something on the screen. There is positivity there. Okay, there is something on the screen, and for that matter, at that moment, x is no more 0 but rather 1 or any other number. Okay, so in that case, it means, what it means is that we can then go ahead and do what? Do the selection of our image that we want. So to do that, there is a decision we have to make using if statement. There you understand what I'm talking about. So we say what? If x is not equal to, you can see this sign less, and then the greater than sign coming together means it's not equal to. If it is not equal to 0, that's what I'm talking about. If x is not equal to 0, it means that the dialog box is open, and for that matter, we can choose what? Our image from the dialog box that is open. Perfect, that is that. If x is not equal to 0, it means, what it means is that x is either 1 or either 2 or 3 or 4. It means the file dialog box is open, and we can choose whatever image we want to choose from this. This is that we can't choose more than one. Is this one that we can choose? So we have then, so we have and if. Okay, and if then we want something to happen, what should happen? So we call on the f path, our global variable. Then we call on the f path, and then we set it to what? Application. Let me just use Control J to have the options. Application dot file dialog. Okay, sorry, file dialog, application.file dialog, then into brackets MSO file dialog open. So we have it here, then bracket close dots select. Now what is going to happen is this: there is another method here we call select or selected items. Okay, how many items have we selected? At that moment, we've already made it clear from the beginning that we just want to select just one item. Okay, so when we call on this property, then we define the number of items we are selecting, which in this case is 1. Selected items is what? 1. So once that is done, when the item is selected, where do we want to keep the item? We want to keep the item in here, and this particular frame is called the image 1, or yes, you can see the name here, image 1. We want to keep it inside there, so we need to make that clear in our syntax. So we go back here. So we call on that image one dot picture, the picture that we've just selected, equal to, the picture should be loaded. So we say what? Load picture from what? The f path, that is the file path where the picture is coming from, or the location of the picture. Okay, so basically I think that is that. Now after that, we need to define some properties for the picture. Okay, you know, there are some instances where you select a picture, then the picture is divided into different sections. In this case, we don't want it like that. We just want the image to just fit inside that frame and just one image at a go. Okay, so we have a property for that, which is called what? Picture size mode. So we set that to 1. So we say what? Image dot picture, image one, sorry, image one dot picture, image one dot picture. Let me have the option so that it speeds up. The image one dot picture size mode, perfect, is here. The picture size mode, then we set that to equal to 1. We just want it to be one picture at a go. So basically that is that. Now let's run this and see how it's going to look like. Okay, minutes please. So let me just confirm that. We'll just do this. Now let's click on this. So once this is clicked, it means the dialog box is now open, and then it's ready to for us to browse through and locate our picture, and then go ahead and then select the picture. So let's do that. Since I have let's go this way. Let me call this training. Sorry. Create a folder for training materials here. So we have database. Passport pictures. Good. So I select this and then click on open. So we have it fit inside here. Okay, just perfectly like that. So that is okay for that. So now we move on. Now the next line of action is, now that we have selected the picture here. Okay, sorry. Now that we are able to select the picture and have it displayed inside the frame here, we would want it that when we trigger this add button, it should be added based on the name or the details, or together with the details of the person we are adding to the system. Okay, that is that. So let's work around that. So to do that, it's a minute. We double click on this add, what's the name, button, and then we add the syntax here. I think here will be okay, ideal for that. Okay, so what we are going to do first is this. There is a property we called resume next. Okay, resume next, what it does is that we are giving we want to give our program a free flow. If there is a minor error which doesn't stop you from running the program, we want to skip that error and continue. So we call that, we say what? On error, it means if there is an error, we want to do what? It skip it and then resume next. We want to move on to the next line of action. Okay, so that is that. In case there is an error during any of these actions here, when the add button is triggered, we want to just skip that error and then retry working around or redo what we are doing again. Okay, and in that case, it should be able to work from there. So after that, we need to declare some variables to say what? Dim I as what? String. Again, dim I as string. And then we want to set I equal to what? Text box 2 dot what? Text. Perfect. Why is I equal to text box 2 dot text? We are setting it to what? The name. We are storing, you know, the name is coming from what? Text box 2. Let's confirm that. The name is coming from here, text box 2. So we are storing whatever is coming from here inside I. Okay, so take note of that. That is what we are doing. We are assigning the name to I. So what are we trying to do? We want the picture to be stored with the name of the person. Okay, that is what we are trying to do. We want a picture to be stored with the name of the person. So now we want the picture, and the picture should be organized. Okay, should be in the particular folder. So let's try creating a folder here like this. Maybe it depends upon where you want the picture to be, okay, or to be stored. Okay, in this case, maybe I want the picture to be stored, I want to keep it on in a folder on this particular desktop. So I create a folder, I can name it whatever, maybe std, maybe students photo, student photo. Okay, perfect, something like that. So I want to have that here. So I'm done with that. So now the next line of action, what I'm going to do is just to copy this particular file path and then send it to my source code. So to do that, I'll press the shift button and then right click on this. Then I'll click on what? Copy as path. Then I'm done. I've just copied the file path. Then I go to my source codes again. So where is the picture going to be stored? So the copy of the picture. So we call it what? File copy. File copy. The copy of the picture should be stored, which is that is the F path. That is the path where it is taken from, should be stored inside the folder we have just created. File path. Then comma. We want to just paste that particular file path here. Then once the picture is the add button is selected, it's going to be stored inside that folder. Okay, that is what it's going to be stored in, but we want it to be unique, so we want to store it together with the name of the person. So how do we do that? We have to concatenate this to I. You know, this I is holding what? Textbox2.text, whatever is coming from textbox2. And you and I know very well that what is coming from textbox2 is just a name of that particular person, depending upon the person. So we are storing that. So we are concatenating this to I. So we say what? Use the ampersand, then I, and ampersand again. Then we close our the inverted commas. Then we call on the file extension .jpg. Okay, then we close that. So perfect. We are done with that. So now let's run it now and see how it's going to be. So once the picture is selected and the add button is triggered, the picture is going to be stored inside that folder together with the name of the person. So let's check on that. Let me minimize this and then get this up and running. Okay, so here let's say we have Kamal, Adams, then it's a male, then the class P2. So we want to choose a picture for him. So we have this picture now. Okay, so let me select this, and then once that is done, click on add. Then so let's go to the folder and see what is happening inside there. So once you open this folder, you should have the picture stored with the name Kamal Adams. But you can decide, I don't want the picture to be stored with the name of the person. How do you want it? Maybe you want the picture to be stored with the ID of the person. Okay, so we can equally do that. So in that case, it's very simple, right? What do? We just have to change the value of I to what? Text box 1, because text box 1 is what is holding the ID. So like this, 1. Okay, text box 1. Perfect, something like that. Okay, so that is what we want to store it with now. We want to store it with the ID. So if Kamal is 8, it means the picture should be stored with what? The ID, Kamal's ID, that is 8. So let's run that and text it and see. So let's minimize this. It means, let me just call this now. So, okay, now let me add another person. So maybe I'll call Sule. Hey, I already have Sule ID. Okay, let me have Sule Muntari now. Okay, Sule Muntari. Okay, so male. Then the class is P3. Okay, then we choose the picture. This young man looks like Sule Muntari in one way or the other, so we choose him. So once the add button is triggered, now let's confirm from our box what we have there. We have this stored with the ID and no more the name. So depending upon what you want to buy, I prefer the name, right? I prefer the name. Okay, so basically that is that. So let me go back and change it so you know how to work around that now. So this shouldn't be a problem. Good. So now let's move on and let's check on that. Set it to what? Text box 2. We are done. Now that is that with the add. Now we are able to add. Okay, now let's move on. Now we should be able to search. Once we search for an employee or the student, we should have the picture displayed. Right now, if we should do that, the picture wouldn't be displayed. Let's confirm that. Let's search for Sule Muntari now and see how it's going to be. Sule Muntari. Let's search. So we have, and you can see the picture is not there. That is because we haven't added those syntax in there. So let's work around that. So to achieve that, what we just have to do is to double click the search here. Then after that, we need to let's see where we can add that. Okay, I think it can be here. So with this one too, we call on, say what, on error resume next. Okay, so perfect, that is that. Now here to, what we need to do is just to call on the image. Okay, the image one, the image frame where the picture is stored. Based on the name we type in the search box, we want that name to collect the picture from the folder. Okay, from the folder, and bring it back into what, the image frame. Okay, that is what we want based on the name that we type. If we type Sule Muntari, we want the syntax to go to the folder and pick an image with Sule Muntari and display it over on the form for us. Okay, so basically that is that. So let's say image one dot picture. Okay, image one dot picture equal to, then we have a method call, function called load. Sorry, yeah, load. Let me just do this, then Control G. Sorry, load picture. Where should the picture be loaded from? It should be loaded from what? What's the name? The folder or the file path where the picture is stored. Okay, but in this case, we are loading it together with what? With the name of the picture. And in this case, the name, we want to match it with the name in the search box. Okay, we are dealing with the search button here. So we want to match the name in the name with the picture to the name in the search box. So in this case, we're going to concatenate this to the name in the search box. So have this and then use, and our search box is what? Text box 3. Don't forget of that. So we have text box 3 dot what? Dot text. Then we want to concatenate that to what is inside the text box tray. That is the value. So we say end. So to the concatenate it to what? Value. And we concatenate that again. Then we first of all close this and then concatenate it to the file extension dot what? JPG. Effect. Sorry, dot JPG. Then close this. So now what is left there is equal to load picture. And then image one dot picture is equal to load picture into bracket C. That is where the picture is coming from. And then forward slash end textbox 6 dot text and value. And so let's move this again. See, there is an error somewhere. Image one dot picture is equal to load picture here. So we have this. Okay, and text box 3 dot text. Okay, and value. We concatenate that towards dot jpg value, and then should they be like this? Oh, there's an error somewhere. Let me try to figure out that. Okay, slash here, image one dot picture value that okay, the bracket is open here, so I need to close the bracket. Thank you very much for that. Perfect. And that is what is a problem. Initially, you know, there are some that we didn't, let me see, like the previous one, it wasn't in a bracket, if I'm right. So I was trying to, you see, this one is not in a bracket, so I was thinking the same thing here. Sorry for that. It should be, the bracket is open, so it should be closed here, I think. So perfect, that is that. So what we are doing here is that we want, when the search button is clicked, we want to load the picture from the folder based on the name in the text box tree. That is what? The search bar. Let's confirm that. Okay, it's very important. This is the text box straight at the search bar. We want to compare that to the image, and then once they match, we want to call that image and display it here for us. That is exactly what we are doing. Shouldn't be a problem. So I think that is that. So now, once the image comes there, how do we want it to display? We want it to just display just as it was added. Okay, so we call on that same property. So we call on the image one dot picture size mode, right? Size mode equal to just 1. Perfect. Okay, now let's run that and see. So we run it and then minimize this, and we can bring this back. So let's try searching Kamal Adams. Perfect. We have everything up and running. Let's reset the phone. Sule Muntari. Let's search. Could it be that the name is not well typed? Sule Muntari with the problem. Okay, let's try another person. Let's add another person and try that and see too. Let's see. Let's try add something like King in male class this, and then add picture to this one to add. Let's search for the one we just added and see what's going to happen. Indeed, search. Perfect. So I don't know why the Motari is not adding it. It should work. It should work. It shouldn't be a problem. If you add them perfectly, it should work. Shouldn't be a problem there. Okay, so basically that is that. Now let's move on. The next line of action is we also need to update the picture. Could be that we've selected the wrong picture for the right person, right? Okay, so we need to do the necessary correction by updating. So let's do that. Close this and then sorry, call on this. We double click on the update button, okay, and then let's locate where we can add this. All right, I think this it can be here just after the success message. So with that one too, we can say on error resume next. Okay, so on error resume, sorry, next. Perfect. Now what we just have to do is this: we need to declare some variables again. So we say dim what I as string. Perfect. Then after that, we need to set I to what is coming from the text box 2, that is the name. So I is equal to text box 2 dot text, that is the name, box 2 dot text. Perfect. Now the next thing after that is to just call the path, the file path. Okay, so the copy of the file, that file copy that we want to update, then where it has been taken from, that is the file path, and comma. So we would want to, let's quickly go back and then copy the file path again. So press and hold a shift key on the keyboard, right click, and then you release it, then you copy as path. Okay, so once we come back here, so we would want to paste it here. So basically that is what we are trying to do now. What we just have to do is just to concatenate it towards the name that is coming from that, the name of the image. Okay, so we do this, we just concatenate this with I, but we set I to text box 2, that is the name. Name is coming from text box 2, then concatenate these two words. Let's say then dot jpg. Okay, perfect. That is that. I think this should work now without any problem. So that is that. Now let's check on update functionality again and see. So let's check now. We can minimize this and then bring this back. Okay, let's assume we have given King the wrong picture. Okay, so let's set King Dean. Sorry, King Dean. Let's search. Perfect. So let's try changing the picture for King Dean here. Okay, so we click on this. Let's give this one King Dean. Then we're done. So updates. Let's go back to our folder and confirm the changes there. Okay, so you can see that it has been replaced with what King Dean. Okay, I understood why Sule Muntari's picture was not coming. We added Sule Muntari with the ID, okay, instead of the name. And there we were searching using the name instead of the ID. So that is why Sule Muntari failed to pop up there. Okay, so this is the cause. Shouldn't be a problem. If we should change this to Sule Muntari, the name to Sule Muntari, at least it should be able to work. So right now we can equally update that. And once we search for Sule Muntari, it should work now for us. Okay, so let's do that. So you can see the King has just been updated. So let's close and go back and work around the Sule Muntari once again. So let's search for, let's minimize this. Search for Sule Muntari. Sule Muntari. Sule Muntari. Search for him. So now the name is not appearing. So okay, let's try to add now. I'm sure this is the image we gave to Sule Muntari. So we select that and we click on update. It should replace. So now it has replaced that image. So once we search for Sule Muntari again, we should have him up and running. Perfect. That is that. Everything is working without any problem, without any stress. Now the last thing we need to do is that sometimes we can equally do what try to say we want to delete the picture. Okay, we want to delete the picture and then blah blah stuff. So let's work around that as well. Okay, so let's just go back here. So we would want to double click on delete. Let's look for delete syntax here. Okay, and where we can place that. So before we do that, we need to declare some variable here. So we say dim, that one is going to be added to the variables already declared in the dim syntax. So dim I as what? String. Perfect. So once that is done, we need to set I to the text box 2. That is the name. I is equal to what? Text box 2 dot the text. So now once that is done, we just need just one line of code to add to this if statement and then do the execution of that. And we just need one function to do the deleting for us, and that is the kill. One of the functions that made me laugh seeing this function kill, and what it does is to just destroy. I got to realize that yes, programming is indeed something. It's part of life. Okay, it's real life. So we call on the kill function. So kill, what is it killing? Is killing the file from the path. Okay, so we just minimize this, shifts right click on this folder, then you release the shift button, then copy as path. Okay, so we want it to kill this for us, so we just control V to paste. Okay, so let's concatenate it to the name. We do that, and then yes, ampersand, then the I which is holding the name, then ampersand again, then we close this, then dots jpg. Okay, perfect. This should do the distraction for us now. So let's run it, then okay, it's gone by itself. So let's search for Kamal and then delete Kamal. Okay, let's search for King Dean. Okay, the last person we just added. Let's do that. King Dean. Okay, let's search. So we want to delete King Dean, so we delete him. Let's go to the folder and confirm that. Who did we delete? You know King Dean that we deleted? Or who? Oh, let me just does that mean I didn't delete anybody here? Oh, sorry. Where are we here? Okay. King Dean. Now we search. Then we click on delete, right? Good, it's gone. Yeah, King is deleted. Okay, so now let's go to the folder and confirm that the image is gone. Let me just do it with this image because it has no value here. Perfect. So we have to. So let's go back and delete the rest and see. So now let's delete Sule Muntari. Let's search for Sule Muntari. So we search, we delete Sulemuntari, deleted. Close that. So let's check. It's also gone. So that is how we add, search, it, update image in our user form. You can save your work. And I say thank you very, very much for watching. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your trust. I appreciate it. Without you, there wouldn't be me. With this, I always learn and learn and learn for me to be able to come and do something like this. My little way to help. May the Lord bless us all. So, till the next lesson, thank you very much for watching, where we are going to look at the list box. Till then, bye for now.